Hello, Auntie Jen here, and today I'm going to show you how to make Auntie Jen's gluten-free meatloaf. It's so good, so let's get started on it. These are all the food items you'll need to make Auntie Jen's gluten-free meatloaf. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is preheat our oven. So we're going to set it to 400 degrees. Okay, we got that preheating. And the next thing we need to do is I'm going to take some olive oil, some gluten-free olive oil, and I'm going to add it to my pan just a little bit because I don't want this sticking to my pan. And by the way, this is a 9 by 13 pan, and it's a non-stick. So, but I still want to add some olive oil in here. Okay, that's probably about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm just going to run it around in the bottom. Try to cover up a little bit of it. Okay, that's pretty good, like that. So I'm going to set this out of the way for now. And the olive oil. Okay, I've already cracked 1 egg and I put it in my bowl, as you can see, and I've scrambled it up a little bit. Okay, next thing we're going to do is add our gluten-free hamburger. So we're going to add that in now. And I'm using 2 packs for this meatloaf. That way we can have some leftovers. Okay. Alright, now of our sausage, you can see that I've cut off about 1 slice of sausage. We're going to put in this little piece, just break it up into pieces and add it to the bowl. This gives it a little bit of spice. So, you know, I have acid reflux, so I can't eat too much spice. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that 1 slice, and that should be enough for that. Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to wash my hands off, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and I'm just going to add a little bit of salt to this. Hamburger is one thing I actually do like to salt. I'll try not to eat too much salt if I can help it. But hamburger to me just doesn't taste right without a little bit of seasoning in it. So I'm going to add some salt to that. Okay, and you can salt to your taste. So just whatever you think you would like. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our Udi's bread. And I usually try to use the squashed up bread. Sometimes they get crumbly in the pack. And I try to use the ones that are not so good to make sandwiches with or anything. And we're just going to take and crumble this up into our meatloaf, just like this, and it crumbles pretty good. This is thawed bread, by the way, so it's not frozen. I've took it down out of the freezer and let it thaw out for about half a day. And I'm going to use probably about almost a half a loaf of this. Okay, I've just about got the bread in now. Most of it I slung on my little table, so but we won't mess with that. Okay, so that's what we're putting in. Alright, now we've got our tomato sauce. And of course this is gluten-free. Everything I use is gluten-free. I can't eat anything that's not gluten-free. So we're going to put some of this in on the top here. Alright, now we're going to just take our hands and start squeezing it together. This is going to mix it. And you can see I'm just taking my hand, squeezing it together. I'll rake it off the sides and pull it into the center. And I try to take some from the bottom and pull it up to the top so we can try to mix that bread and eggs and all that sausage around in the meatloaf so it kind of blends evenly. That's what we want to try to do with it. This is the dirtiest part of it. Then get your hands in the meatloaf. I'm going to add just a little bit more of this tomato sauce. Okay, you can see what I'm doing here. Mainly we're just trying to mix it up very well all together. And really, with me, I work more, instead of measurements, I work more with consistency than I do how to measure everything out. Because it's how it feels to me, how it stirs up mostly, or whatever like that. I know that's hard for you to get, but alright. Just about got it done here. Alright, while I'm getting ready to put this in the pan, watch this gluten-free tip and we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, we're back. While we were off camera, I went ahead and cleaned up my workstation and got that ready and got our pan over here. Okay, now we're going to put our meatloaf into the pan. And you can see it's just in one big glob, so we're just going to rake that out into the pan. And you can see it looks about like a ball here. So we're just going to take our hands and shape it up. And I usually just start patting it down and start taking the sides and shaping it into a loaf. That's what we're going to do here. And it depends on how thick you want your meatloaf. Some people might like a little bit thinner slice of meatloaf, some like thick. But now remember, the thicker it is, it's going to affect your cooking time, so it may take longer to cook it. So you want to be aware of that. Okay, we're just about there now. Alright, the one thing to remember is anytime you handle meat or you've got it on your counter or anywhere, you gotta wash your hands after you touch it, and you gotta clean up your workstation. That's very important. So now I gotta wash my hands again. I'll be right back. Okay, alright, now the last thing we're going to do before we put it into the oven is we're going to take some more of our tomato sauce and we're just going to let it pour on top. Like so. We're just going to pour out a little bit. You don't want to get a gobby amount, just enough to pour on here and to give you a tomatoey top. Alright, that looks pretty good right there. Now you see what it looks like? Alright, now it's time to put it in the oven and we're going to bake it for about 45 minutes. So I'm going to put it in and we're going to put it on the bottom rack. And it's actually about 2 slots up. So we're going to put it center in the oven. Close our oven up. And I'll be back and we'll check it here when it gets about 45 minutes into baking. Alright, our meatloaf's been baking about 45 minutes, so it's time to get it out and let's check and see if it's done. It smells delicious. Alright, see what it looks like? Okay, we're going to take and cut it in two just to make sure that it's done in the center. I believe it is done, but I think I'm going to cook it just a little bit longer, probably another 10 minutes, just to let it get a little more brown. Now, if you don't like yours quite as brown, you can get it out now, but I'm going to cook it just a little bit longer. We'll be back in a minute. Alright, it's been about 10 more minutes, so let's check our meatloaf. I'm sure it's done, but we'll check it. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks good. I'm going to pull it apart with my spatula and let's see what it looks like here. Alright, it looks good. Okay, I'm going to get it out and put it in a plate and we'll be back in a minute and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, look at that meatloaf. Does that just not look delicious? And you can serve it with some mashed potatoes and peas or green beans or whatever vegetable you like. Smells delicious. Alright. Auntie Jen signing off. But before I do, I want to remind you to subscribe and make sure you share and also leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Alright, I am signing off and I'll catch you on the next recipe.